The Battle of Verdun was known as one of the bloodiest battles in history. This battle included the French and the Germans. The winter conditions and results of fighting made further activities impossible. Artillery, flamethrowers, machine guns, rifles, tanks, and grenades were used in the Battle of Verdun. There are still bodies that are currently being found on the Verdun battlefield. The Battle of Verdun started on February 21st when the first shot was fired from one of the German long-distance naval guns, and the battle ended on December 18th, 1916. The Germans had deployed 168 aircraft and the largest aerial net ever to prevent French planes from observation and artillery spotting. On day 2 of the battle, the Germans surprised the French by using 96 flamethrowers. And by day 3, the Germans had taken 3,000 French prisoners and advanced 2 miles.
One of the prisoners, Lieutenant Colonel Bernard, was brought before the visitors to the battleground. The Kaiser himself, who was watching the battle, Bernard told him, "You will never enter Verdun." But by February 25th, the French 51st and 72nd Divisions, holding the line from Herbois West to the Meuse, had suffered 60% casualties. February 24th was the day the dam burst. The Germans broke through between Beaumont and Saint-Magnus, and the French positions fell in just 3 hours. The Germans took 10,000 more French prisoners, and their territorial gains that day were equal to the first 3 days in total. By the evening, for the first time on the Western Front since the Battle of the Marne, the war was a war of motion. French morale was crumbling, and the French artillery was alarmingly silent.
The life of a nurse was way harder than you may think. They rarely got to sleep in beds, they rarely got to wash up, and they usually ate cold food. They had to care for 100 patients at any given time. Their reward would be the satisfaction of saving lives. Around the last year of the war, there was around 12,000 nurses actively working. Nurses treated several types of wounds, many types of infections, and mustard gas burns. Patients were given their baths after they took their medication and ate breakfast. Some patients were given bed baths while others were taken to the bath. If a patient died during the day, the male nurses would lay out the body and take it to the funeral home. If the patient died at night, then the nursing sisters had to lay out the body and wait for the male nurses to take it to the funeral home. Patients would rarely receive visitors and occasionally were allowed to write letters to their loved ones. When the nurses were on break, they would go on long walks or ride their bikes to the coast or the village. Every nurse would work to the point of collapsing. They would skip meals and skip breaks just because of the large amount of patients during the bloody wars.
Brutal fighting continued for months. The Battle of Verdun was one of World War I's longest, bloodiest, and most ferocious battles. In the end, the French won the battle. There were about 400,000 French casualties and about 350,000 German casualties. Some fun facts are: soldiers ate biscuits, chocolate, cheese, ounces of salt, wheat, flour, butter, vegetables, bread, and jam. And boiled plum puddings. All of their food was washed down with abundant amounts of tea.
This is a blooper.
Down there. That's too far. Yeah. I like peanut butter jelly sandwiches. How about you? Oh, yum, yum.
The winter conditions and the further activities made, oh my God. There are still bodies that are currently being found on the battlefield of, no, it's Verdun.